This is the Sony 24mm F1.4 GM, and this is no new lens by any means. This lens came out a few years ago, but it was my first opportunity to get my hands on it, and I thought I'd review it and see whether it's a lens that's still worth your money in 2022. I was lucky enough to try out this lens while I was out on a client shoot in Barcelona where we had rented it as part of our shoot. I was very excited to get my hands on this lens as it has received really great reviews in the past and it is heralded as a very, very good lens. On this shoot I was primarily focused on video, but I did take the opportunity to snap a few photos so that I can give my thoughts on that aspect of this lens as well. If you're familiar with other G Master lenses, you'll feel very at home using this lens. The panel of the lens itself isn't absolutely packed with features, but it has a few that are really key, including a declickable aperture ring, an AF/MF switch, as well as a customizable button which you can assign any function to. The declickable aperture ring is fantastic for videographers as it allows you to seamlessly switch between your apertures without clicks getting in the way. An AF/MF switch is basically essential on all lenses nowadays. It's the easiest way to switch from autofocus to manual focus or vice versa. And a customizable button allows you to tailor the experience of using the lens to however you wish. In terms of its construction, this lens is built very well, as you'd expect from a G Master lens. It weighs in at 445 grams, which I thought was actually really good. It has a good feeling when it's on the camera and isn't too heavy to balance on a gimbal. The focus rings are made from rubber and have a good feeling to them. These are electronically controlled without hard stops. The lens also features a pretty decent weather sealing gasket, which is great if you're going to use this lens outdoors in harsh conditions. In terms of function and construction, this lens is still really good and up to par with other lenses that are being released now in 2022. Okay, let's briefly talk about photos. First of all, 24mm is a fantastic focal length. It's a very diverse focal length which can be used for a wide variety of different subjects, and it's not too wide that you get massive distortion in your images. It's a focal length that I've come to really enjoy shooting with, as you can shoot pretty much any type of photography on a 24mm lens. The fast aperture of f1.4 means this lens is brilliant in low light. Having such a fast aperture allows so much light into the lens, and this is one I would highly recommend if you're into your night photography or low light photography. One aspect of this lens that could be considered to be outdated is its focusing system. It no longer has Sony's latest autofocusing system, as they've implemented some extra bits into their new lenses. Despite this, it still focuses very quickly and I didn't have any issues in terms of autofocus. In terms of the images themselves, they are very sharp and detailed. I love the look of the shots that I managed to get out of the 24mm lens. I didn't take a huge variety of photos as I was focused on video, but what I did capture I was really happy with. A few things that I did notice is that was slight distortion, which is easily fixed in Lightroom, as well as slight vignetting, which is also corrected very simply in Lightroom, just by applying the auto corrections. This wasn't something that hindered my experience at all, so I wouldn't really worry about it. Video. This was my primary use of the lens while I was out in Barcelona, and I found it a joy to use. This lens is fantastic for video. It focuses very quietly and quickly despite not having the latest motor, and having that declickable aperture ring is fantastic for video. It allows you to change your aperture without having any clicks, so you get a smooth transition, which was especially important when you're shooting in scenarios where you have to go from indoor to outdoor, for example. This is absolutely essential for a video lens, so it's brilliant that this lens has it. While out on this shoot, I primarily used this lens while using a gimbal. And in my opinion, this focal length of 24mm is a brilliant focal length for gimbal work. It provides you with a wide enough field of view which you can capture quite a lot of subjects in your scene, but without it being so wide that it looks unrealistic and unnatural to the eye. The small weight and size of this lens makes it a perfect combination for a gimbal. It was easy to balance on the DJI RS3, which was the gimbal that I was using on this shoot. I didn't have any problems balancing it, which made it a perfect lens for this gimbal. On top of that, during this shoot I was shooting a lot in low light scenarios, and having that f1 point aperture not only looks great, but allows so much light into the sensor, which allowed my images to be less noisy, and for most of the shoot I could stay at my base ISO without needing to boost it to make sure my exposure was right. I love the look of the video that this lens helped me produce, and it's something I would love to repeat again. So how does the 24mm F1.4 G Master compare in 2022? In terms of lenses that have been released recently, the Sigma 24mm F1.4 would be its closest competitor. That lens retails for about $775, whereas the Sony you can pick up for around $900 second hand. If you want to buy this lens new, you're looking at about £1,000 at the moment. I'd personally pick up this lens second hand, as it is a few years old and you'll be able to find yourself a great deal. Overall, this is a fantastic lens and one I wish I owned. It's one I've got my eyes on for the future, and the only downsides I found were that it does have that older focusing motor, which may be outdated pretty soon. But despite this, I didn't have any issues with focusing. With it unlikely that this lens will get a refresh very soon, I think that this lens is more than capable in 2022. Let me know, have you tried the 24mm F1.4 and which one is your favourite out of all the many options that are out there? I like reviewing these older lenses which some people may have just written off by now, but they have a lot more life in them than you may think. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. I can't thank you enough for all of your support. It really does mean a lot. And with all that being said, I'll see you in the next one.